Hi folks, common question we get asked is what do I pack in my rucksack for a day of mountaineering? So I thought I'd do a quick video, I'll try and keep it under 5 minutes, about the types of things that I carry in my rucksack for British sort of grade 2, grade 3 or above scrambling with a rope, and hopefully this will prompt you to think about what you pack in your own bag and the types of things that you might want to carry in future. Right, first of all, we've got waterproofs. Now tomorrow it's not forecast to rain, but I've been caught out in quite a lot of storms, so I think it's always useful just to have your waterproofs with you just in case, as we don't really know what's on the forecast. They're also a really good barrier from the wind if you get caught in a situation where you have to sit around, so somebody twists an ankle or gets hurt. So really useful for that. So next up, sort of keeping on that theme, I've got a insulated layer in this dry bag. I quite like synthetic layers at this time of the year because we can still get a little bit of rain or a bit of moisture. Synthetic generally works better in the wet, and also this particular jacket is a montane prism, nice and lightweight, and I've got some mitts in there as well, just some synthetic mitts and a small hat as well. So that's my sort of emergency kit just in case anything were to go wrong. I've also, talking of emergency kit, I've got a dry bag here, and inside I will keep a rescue shelter. Real good bit of kit, and if you haven't already, check out our video on our YouTube about rescue shelters and the types of shelters that we recommend. And I've also got a first aid kit. Now my first aid kit is generally tweaked for the time of year, so we've got a lot of heat tomorrow. It's going to be quite a warm day, so I've got electrolyte powders in my first aid kit, energy gels, and also all the normal stuff you'd expect in a first aid kit. We'll do another video on first aid kits, especially for mountain professionals, so you can see what we carry, but there's things like trauma dressings, tourniquets, but also basic things like duct tape, scissors, plasters, all that sort of stuff. So yeah, keep all that in there. Next, if we keep on the theme of sort of emergencies, I like to keep a section of rope in my bag. So this is about 3 meters of 9.8 rope. Somebody damaged one of my ropes, so I've cut that piece of rope up into segments, and I use this for escaping off the crag. So if we get into a situation where we need to retreat, I can put this around a block, and I can attach the rope to it and we can abseil off. So I'll keep that in my bag. And then to save me having to leave a carabiner behind, I normally take a few of these with me, which are mayons. These are rated climbing mayons, so if you go to a climbing shop you'll be able to buy these, or you can buy them online, and they are rated. They've got a kilonewton or a working strength or working weight that you can use, but if you're going to use these, make sure they are the tested ones. There's lots of supermarkets and garden centres that sell these, which are more for fixing fences. I wouldn't want to trust my life on one of those if it wasn't rated, so that goes in my bag as well. And that's all my like emergency kit, or the stuff that I'm unlikely to use. So that's all at the bottom of my bag. Next up, if we go with trying to keep the weight sort of low down in the bag, I've got my trad rack. So tomorrow we're going to be on relatively straightforward terrain. So we're going to be keeping the rack quite simple. So just got some wires, slings, belay devices, you know, quick draws, and very basic rack. If you go on my YouTube, you'll see a video on there about what to carry if you're going to go grade 2 or grade 3 scrambling with the rope. So I'll keep all that in there. That goes in my rucksack. Brilliant. And then next up, we've got harness. There's so many different harnesses out there on the market. This is a Black Diamond Corwar harness. Really, really good for the type of work that I do, which is, you know, on that grade 2, grade 3 terrain where the likelihood of me sitting into the harness is very, very unlikely, but I might need to abseil. So having something that's lightweight but also comfortable is really useful. But there's very little padding on these, so you just have to keep that in mind. Not good for like rock climbing if you're going to be sat on the harness or leaning into it for quite a while, but perfect for this type of stuff that we're doing tomorrow. Next up, yeah, we'll go with lunch. I generally keep my lunch in a dry bag or some sort of bag to keep it together. There's a mixture of things like sausage rolls, brown breads. Sometimes I take wraps, chocolate bars, and a good mixture of dried fruit and nuts and that sort of stuff as well. Protecting from the sun. So it's going to, again, as I said, it's going to be a hot day tomorrow. So I've got my sunglasses in a hard case so they don't get broken. And I've got some Factor 50 Really useful. I normally put my Factor 50 on first thing in the morning, and then I take a little bottle like that to reapply through the day. If you're going to spend lots of time in the mountains, it's definitely worthwhile thinking about putting some SPF 50 on to protect against any nasties that we might get on our skin in future if we spend a lot of time in the sun. And as we're mountain professionals, we do spend a lot of time in the sun, so definitely something to think about. And even though we've got quite light evenings at the moment, and it doesn't get dark till about 10 o'clock. You've only got to go on mountain rescue logs to see that there's people get caught out and you can get stuck behind a slow party. So carrying a head torch. Now, because it's dry and I want something that's really lightweight, I really like this torch. This is the Silver S Mini. It's USB charged. It's got a like a lock on it so that it won't turn on accidentally. Nice and small, very lightweight, and great for this type of weather where we've not got any major storms or anything like that. But I've got a more robust torch that's more weatherproof, and I take that out with me when there's more bad weather expected. So that sits in there. I've also got the normal things that you'd expect, like a compass and a map, and then water. Generally, I'll take about 1 litre to 1.5 litres, 2 litres when it's very hot, sort of 20-30 degrees. But 1 litre generally does me fine, and I'll be drinking lots of water before I head out in the morning as well to prehydrate. But if it's a hot day, 2 litres is pretty useful, and my clients are always taking 1.5 litres to 2 litres with them as well. So that sits in there. And almost to the end, we've got a guidebook. You don't have to carry a guidebook with you. I'm teaching tomorrow, so I'm going to take a guidebook so that I can show my clients the routes in the guidebook and how that relates to the ground. So I'll pack my guidebook in there, but some people take pictures of the guidebook so that you lighten that up. Just be mindful that you take a picture of every page of the route. It's sometimes the route goes onto a second or third page, and sometimes people miss that off. And the other thing is making sure that your phone is fully charged, so that's quite useful. Last but not least, we've got our helmet, so I'll put that in the top there. Sometimes if I've got extra layers, I sometimes put the helmet on the outside of my pack. And then there's other things that I might take extra as well, like if it's going to be really cold, I'll take a much bigger layer. I might take a slightly bigger bag. I'll also have my own layers and my own personal layers that I'm carrying, so I'll have normally a synthetic base layer on, and then my other layers on top. But that's generally what I keep in my rucksack. If I'm going into more remote areas, I might carry my Garmin InReach so I can be in communication wherever I am, and I also might take a power bank as well for my phone. But all these extra things, if you go into remote areas or super hot, super dry areas, you'll need to tailor your backpack for that. So hopefully that's given you an idea of what to carry in your backpack, and it's giving you some ideas of things that you might want to add or things that you might want to remove out of your rucksack so you can have successful days in the mountains.